there hasn't been ice in August in the Bay in like 20 years. Like that doesn't exist anymore.
That's amazing.
And it was just 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
The town elder was telling me that it was raining. He said he's 70 years old. He never remembers it raining in January ever.
Welcome to Growing Impact, a podcast by the Institutes of Energy and the Environment at Penn State. Growing Impact explores cutting-edge research and projects of scientists and researchers who are solving some of the world's most challenging energy and environmental issues, or raising awareness of these issues. Each of the projects have been funded through an innovative seed grant program that is facilitated through IEE.
Today, our guest is Kirk French, a teaching professor of anthropology and filmmaker who is currently working on a new film project, Climate Change on Hudson Bay, a Century After Nanook. Welcome, Kirk. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So let's jump on to the climate change on Hudson Bay. First, Tell me, a Century After Nanook. Can you tell me what is Nanook a storm, or was it an incident, or I'm not clear. I don't even know what it is.
So I'll ask you. So does Nanook mean anything to you?
Nanook, it sounds like an Inuit name. That's all I really can think of. That's all I know.
Okay, so
and Frank Zappa.
Exactly.
Are you kidding?
Exactly. No, because Nanook. So Nanook is the first full-length documentary ever made. Came out in 1922, and it laid the foundation for what just about every documentary that's come after it. I mean, it's monumental. I mean, any documentary filmmaker you would talk to, like Werner Herzog or anybody, they'd be like, Nanook. I mean, like that changed everything, you know? And what happened is that me and my crew were sitting around talking about what we were going to do next. And we jokingly said, man, we should try to, instead of revisiting a film that no one's ever heard of, like Land and Water, a film, made by an archaeologist at Penn State University. What if we took like the first documentary ever made, like a monumental one? We were joking. We were having some drinks and we were joking, and it was like, well, we should remake Nanook. And again, it was a joke. But then just got on Wikipedia, and this was in October of 19, and I said, did you know that the premiere of that film was in 1922? And he actually started filming it in 1920, like less than a year from now is the 100th anniversary of when it started filming. And me and the crew, we were like, oh my God, like no one's talking about a 100th anniversary of the first documentary ever made. And then, of course, it just snowballed that evening into all the things that we could highlight, where climate change is more amplified than any place in the world in the Arctic, right? I mean, the people that have the smallest carbon footprint on the planet are the ones being screwed over the most. And they're indigenous, and they're being screwed over by everybody else in the world. It's just this classic, horrible tale. And so I figured, wow, we could tell a story of climate change in a small community, in the community where Nanook was filmed, and then at the same time celebrate this cinematic milestone that occurred. So really you're talking about, of course, anthropology, but also, cinematic history and climate change. And you could weave all those together into one story and really reach people that you normally wouldn't reach. If this was just a film on climate change, you'd be preaching to the choir, right? People want to watch it. They believe in climate change. They know it's real, and they want to soak more of it in. This is people that would watch it because they know of Nanook of the North. They know of this film, and it's the 100th anniversary. And there's anthropologists that would want to watch it for a different reason. So it started as a joke, and within an hour, it was like, I think we could do this. Yeah, I mean, what's happening in the Arctic is that the warming of the planet is being felt, it's being amplified in the Arctic. And so we're, down in the Pennsylvania region and kind of that kind of latitude, the temperature increase it's going up, but it's going up at a slower rate. And up there, it's increasing by 1 to 2 centigrade over the last 100 years. And so And if that was happening in Pennsylvania, that would still be a big deal. It would be a big deal for wildlife and things like that. But up there, you have frozen tundra, you have permafrost, it's melting, it's releasing certain gases. It's causing the way in which they hunt to differ because a lot of the wildlife that they might depend upon, the fishing that they depend upon is different. So certain animals aren't coming around that used to come around. And so the environmental changes that are going on are actually causing these very amplified and drastic cultural changes, which we are going to experience too. And we are experiencing them. We're just experiencing them here at a slower rate. Yeah, so I'm working with Andrew Carlton. He's a professor in the geography department. He's a climate scientist. He's going to be going up there with us as well to actually look at the changes as a climate scientist, and we'll be interviewing him as well to get his input on this. And so he's been instrumental in this entire grant process as well, and we're glad that he's going up there with us.
So how did an archaeologist become a filmmaker?
I was kind of scattershot with like what I was going to do because the academic thing was just there were freezes everywhere. I didn't know if I was going to have anything the next year. And there was a call for an archaeologist to host a TV show for Discovery Channel. So I applied for this thing and I got it. And then I had been working on a documentary that I was just interested in myself with people that find stuff in their backyard and they think it's like treasure or whatever. And I wanted to go kind of hang out with those people and kind of show them proper methodologies and make it accessible to people that are interested in archaeology. But, anyway, the point is they took my idea and we developed it together and it became a Discovery Channel show. And I was already interested in filmmaking, but I didn't really know how to do anything. I'm an archaeologist. And so I really got to see the other side, of what it is to make a movie, or make a film. And it really gave me some tools to feel like I was a little more confident in trying to do something. And then, but I'm still doing archaeology. I'm running projects and stuff. I'm like, film is just like this extra thing that I dream about, And then what happened is I had been wanting to remake this film, Land and Water, that was made at Penn State back in 1962 in the Teotihuacan Valley of Mexico. And I searched around for funding. There was a seed grant from PSIEE. It was the first time I'd even heard of these things.
Kirk says that COVID and the pandemic that followed really changed their plans and their filming, but it wasn't all bad.
We were supposed to be on our third or fourth trip right now up there, but we haven't been able to go at all because found out about the money in February, March, and then we were going to go up there that summer. There's some super awesome silver linings here of COVID in regards to this project, of us not being able to go up. Nanook, the film itself is great, but there's some highly unethical just nonsense in there. So I was worried about this with working with the Inuit and all that, and they've been so overjoyed that we want to celebrate this and do all of this. I shipped them camera equipment. They started filming on August 15th, 2020, on the exact day that Robert Flaherty started filming Nanook of the North in the same village. They're interviewing people. Instead of a white guy up there, a bunch of white guys trying to get their input and filming what we think is important, they're actually filming both sides of it, on both sides of the camera. And we are collaborating with them on a level that, yes, we would have collaborated. We couldn't have done it without them. But this is like a true partnership in every way. I mean, so it's really cool. The elders, I have these talks with the elders up there of how it's going and what's going on. And that wouldn't have happened the same way, So it's kind of, I'm definitely looking at this as a silver lining. It's only going to enrich the film because they've been able to start this project without our interference, really. So them rewatching Nanook and seeing what it looked like, And knowing the changes, the environmental changes that they're seeing right now is so drastic. And then, of course, those environmental changes have exacerbated or forced cultural changes, things that they eat and the way they hunt and the way they do things. This idea of working with the public and public outreach is something that's very dear to me, very important to me. And I think that these films bring scholars together with community members, and a different type of dialogue exists. But the thing is, that's great on a micro level, but by recording it and filming the whole thing and interviewing both sides and interviewing them together and then showing that to the public, it's really giving a voice to both academia and these community members, and at the same time amplifying these problems of climate change and cultural adaptation, and just treating people fairly and realizing that the decisions that you're making here in New York City or in Tokyo or in State College or Mexico City or wherever, they're actually affecting everybody else, that we really are all connected. It's a round world and we have one atmosphere, and it's affecting everyone.
And so what are you looking at next here? What's coming up in the next even 6-12 months, something like that?
We're being optimistic about getting up there by the very end of June or early July of this year, 2021. And then we will go up every season, we'll go up for about 2 weeks every season. So we'll be up there in the summer, we'll go back in the fall, we'll go back next winter, and then we'll go back in the spring. And the original goal of this project was to premiere our finished film on June 11th, 2022. The exact date of the premiere of Nanook of the North, it was in New York City on June 11th, 1922. Granted, because of COVID and we're so far behind with filming, there's no way for that to happen. So what we're doing instead is on June 11th, 2022, we are going to host and help fund a large celebration to celebrate this milestone and it happens to fall on a Saturday. How great is that? It falls on a Saturday. We're going to have a big party, and they're going to fly in elders from different communities and community members. I think we're even going to invite, if they're good with it, invite Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, to come up there, because this is the first documentary film. It wasn't only filmed in Canada; it was filmed in this little, this indigenous community, and they're very, very proud of it, right? I mean, it put the Inuit on the map, and it was all over the world. So we're going to celebrate that, but then this is another one of these silver linings kind of COVID, because we're having to do it that way. We will show the original film. We will also show a 10 or 15 minute clip of some of the things that we will have put together and show them a little bit of what we've been doing. But we will have all these people together. Nanook of the North and the 100th anniversary is fresh on their mind. It'll give us a great opportunity the days before, the day of, and the days after to conduct great interviews with people from all over Canada. And then that celebration is now a part of the documentary we're going to make. So instead of it being the premiere, the party itself is going to be just one kind of chapter of the documentary. And then we will continue to film for another 6 to 8 months, and then we'll edit in, 2023, or I hope 2023, that we'll have a premiere, and we will do the premiere up there. They get to see it first. We did the same thing with Land and Water Revisited. The premiere was in San Juan, Teotihuacan. They deserve to see it first before anybody else. And so the same thing is going to happen there. And so that's kind of the plan, but plans now, I don't have to tell you or anybody else in the world right now. It's like, if plans were ever futile, they are beyond futile now. It's just almost impossible to even think about it.
So I wanted to thank you. Thank you, Kirk, for being a part of today. And I wish you all the best, and hopefully we will talk soon.
Wow, thanks for having me. This was great.
Thank you for listening to Growing Impact. I've been your host, Kevin Slyman. Thank you again to Kirk French for speaking with me. His latest film, Land and Water Revisited, will be televised on PBS during Earth Week in April. Check your local PBS station for times and dates. This is Season 1, Episode 1 of Growing Impact, a podcast of the Institutes of Energy and the Environment. Thank you for joining us.